by the fig tree. After 2 months of being on holiday, we were getting bored, and we still had another week to fill before school started again. We spent all day milling around the huge garden behind our house, but could not think of anything to do. We are bored, silly, we said to our dad. Why don't you ride your bikes? He replied. We bored with that? Well, you have your rackets, bats, and balls. Nah, they are boring. Okay then, what about your books and games? They are boring too. Only nincompoops get bored. Now, I'm fed up with a lot of you. Run along and let me eat my dinner in peace. The four of us, Nico, Arthur, Sylvia, and me, Koldo, just stood there with our mouths open. The next day was Tuesday, and we went down for breakfast after Mom and Dad had gone to work. We found a note. Who wants to go down to the fig tree and pick some figs for Mom and Dad to eat when they get home? That was what the note said. We assumed that Mom had read it and decided to go and pick some figs straight after breakfast. We'd better go straight away, otherwise we'll probably forget, said Sylvia. The garden at the back of our house is very big, and all sorts of things grow there. Kidney beans, green beans, corn, tomatoes, lettuces, peppers, grapes, apple trees, pear trees, cherry trees, chestnut trees, and fig trees, which are full of figs at this time of the year. So we all went into the garden. Ah! I almost slipped over, I said, as I skidded on something just before reaching the first fig tree. What's under your foot? Asked Sylvia. She pointed to a yellow piece of paper on the ground. I picked it up and saw that there was some writing typed on it, but no signature. I bet it's just an advertising leaflet, said Arthur. No, it's not, I replied, after reading the reading on the second time. It's a message. And this is what it said. We are twins and I am lost. We are twins and I am lost. What on earth is that supposed to mean? I don't understand the word. Well, that's what I call a mysterious message. We spent the next few minutes racking our brains trying to think what the mysterious message could possibly mean. But after a few silly suggestions, we were forced to admit that we did not have a clue. When we got bored of trying to guess the meaning, we picked some figs for Mom and Dad and went back to the house. By the afternoon, we had forgotten all about the note. The next day was a hot sunny Wednesday, and we spent the morning giving our dog a bath and playing with Catalina the tortoise. In the afternoon, we were sitting next to the large magnolia tree in the garden, when Arthur came zooming up as fast as his legs would carry him, shouting, "Another message! I found another message!" He told us he had spotted a yellow piece of paper on the ground as he was passing by the fig trees next to the garage on his bicycle. Like the last one, This message was also typed and said, "There are three of us, and now only one is missing. There are three of us, and now only one is missing." What on earth? How is anyone supposed to understand these secret messages? What do they mean? We spent all afternoon mulling over the message, but we did not come up with any answers. Then, just before dinner time, Sylvia jumped up and started shouting excitedly. "I know! I know!" "What? What do you know? Come on, spit it out." "It means we are going to find another message," explained Sylvia. "How do you know?" "The note says there are three messages, and so far we've only found two, right?" "Oh, I see. That's it. You are right." The four of us were too excited and nervous to sleep much that night, and straight after breakfast the next morning we rushed outside to search in the garden for the third message. It was me that eventually found it. "It's here!" I shouted. "I found another yellow note!" The three of us are together again and are happy, but we would be even happier higher up. The three of us are together again and are happy, but we would be even happier higher up. We spent all Thursday and most of Friday too racking our brains. We did nothing except talk amongst ourselves, trying to work out the meaning of the mysterious message, but with no luck. Nico said that maybe we will find another message higher up, somewhere, like in a treetop, for example. And we spent hours and hours searching the top of all trees in the garden, but there was no trace of any note. On Friday, just as it was getting dark, Arthur suddenly gave a shout. "Eureka! I've got it! Let's go up to the attic. Higher up, it means the attic." Uh, I'm scared of the attic," said Sylvia. "It doesn't matter. Get your torch and let's go." The attic was chock-a-block with bits and bobs, suitcases, trunks, chairs, rusty bicycles, books, cupboards, and old clothes. Everything you could possibly imagine. Arthur and I went in first with the torches, and Sylvia and Nico came along behind. We did not know where to start. Whenever we picked up one thing, two or three others would tumble to the floor in a cloud of dust. Suddenly, we heard a noise. Creak! And the door of an old cupboard swung open and two rats scampered out. "Ah!" screamed Sylvia, making all of us jump. "Yippee!" sounded Nico. "Look! There is another yellow note on the floor." We rushed over to pick up the piece of paper and then, without even looking at what it says, raced out of the dark, scary attic as quick as our legs would carry us. After dinner, we went to my bedroom to read the message in private. "You will find the in a you will find the in a We spent all Saturday in a state of nervous excitement. No one could guess the meaning of the secret message. In the morning, we went back up to the attic and, in the light of the day, searched every nook and cranny. After lunch, we went out into the garden to see if we could find another yellow note among the fig trees, but there was nothing. I lay awake half the night thinking about the mystery. The next day was Sunday, and like the day before, we spent hours racking our brains and searching every inch of the garden. Then, in the afternoon, I had an idea. Tre might mean treasure, I said, and tre might mean travel bag. Let's go back up. Since it was dark by this time, we went and got our torches. We opened all the bags and suitcases we could find, but there was nothing hidden in any of them. What about that? Asked Arthur, pointing to an old trunk. That's not a bag, it's a trunk. Just then, Mom called out to us to go down for dinner. Afterwards, Dad said that, since today was the last day of holiday and tomorrow we would be going back to school, we would not have to worry about being bored anymore. Oh, I haven't been bored all this week, replied Nico. Bedtime, said Mom, and off we trotted to get ready for bed. I know, said Sylvia suddenly as we were getting into bed. Tr isn't travel bag, it's trunk, and Brr is brown. So the treasure is in the old trunk, shouted Nico, because it's brown, and I'm sure it is, but it's locked. Tomorrow, after school, all four of us said at once. We'll break the lock with a hammer and find the treasure. The holidays were over, and the next day we started school again, learning lots of new things and playing with old friends. When we came home in the afternoon, we got a hammer and went up to the attic. To our surprise, though, the trunk was already open. Inside was a yellow note with some writing typed on it, saying, "The most precious treasure you will find is what you will learn at school. Goodbye." The most precious treasure you will find is what you will learn at school. Goodbye. And underneath, in small letters, the writer of the notes had signed his name. Yes, you guessed it, your dad, Suena Itacho.